Welcome everyone. Today we'll have the update for the November 27th. It's like duels, but for updates. Yes, this is a second update back to back. In this particular one, we'll look at balance changes. Now, firstly, the talents for N6 has been changed or nerfed. So her sharp pain used to do double damage, now it does 50% more damage. And on top of that, the sympathy pain, which allows her to do damage to 2 of the units, and the secondary unit not only takes 50% of the damage. So it's quite a bit of nerf, and keep in mind, if you pick the trend, the other one which allows you to heal N6 and her minions from the damage from sharp pain, this will reduce the healing as well. So it's a sizable nerf because people are adapting into picking N6 for the healing as well. So definitely a nerf to N6. It's pushing towards Hoggin, but the best one to play Hoggin wins is with Mages. So guess what happened to Mages? Hero changes. Lich. The cooldown of Lich has been dramatically increased by at least more than 50% or even a little more. And the healers with Necro has been buffed. It used to be 5% for Necro's healing, now it's 7.5, now they changed back to 5%. So they want to push back Necro. And this is a sizable change, big change for the cooldown. Maybe we'll play more nice this way. Next up, we have Snapfire. Yeah, I posted a video on YouTube if you guys haven't seen it. A 2-star Snapfire took me to round 30 and still the top damage healer in my mage team. With a blink dagger, that is. It's ridiculous. So they decided to trim her down a little bit. She went down by quite a bit of damage. She still sets people on fire, but the damage went down by a lot. Especially at tier 2 and tier 3. And her tier 3 or 3-star is super strong back then. So yeah, this is a okay nerf because she's a tier 1 unit. You don't expect her to do this much of damage. And it's a little too high for most of the other tier 1 units in comparison. Storm Spirit, very small damage nerf to the Storm Spirit. So at tier 2 you deal 20 less damage and that's all. But the nerf comes in tier 3. So once you get to tier 3 you also do about 75 less damage, and also additional cell is 10 less damage. So it is a nerf to Storm Spirit, and again, in return, a nerf to the mages, because Storm is a mage. Next up, Venomancer got a buff. Notice the units that are underused is getting buffs. Venomancer is now a savage scaled warlock. What they're trying to say is, hey, no one plays Venom that much, it's not that effective, but what about people who have trouble with mages? Why don't we give them a scaled and, make him counter mages a little bit? So this indirectly nerfs mages because there's more scaled to be found and more scaled to be balanced into a different team. So now savages can run a scale too. Next up, Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor seems to have gotten a buff over here as a warlock and as a troll. Because it's more coconut, you do more bounce and more damage, and also the cooldown went back from 15 to 10 seconds. Witch Doctor had a 10-second cooldown, it was too powerful, they went to 15, now it's back to 10. I think we'll see a rise to the Witch Doctor and Necrophos for sure. Those were very big units. Next up, the Alliance change. Mages. On top of the mage units nerf, the mage also received a damage nerf. By tier 1, they lost 15% damage, by tier 2, they lost 25% damage. Oof, it's quite sizable, I have to say, and this will affect mages, especially in the early game and onto the late game. Now, if you have a beefy lineup, say 3 stars or especially brownies with the scaled, you can really look through to tear the mage apart because they can't finish off with 2 or 3 waves of spells. Maybe need at least 3 or 4 waves of spells. And on top of that, the best friends of mages were primordials. They were the most picked for mages because there's so many primordials in the mage. And guess what happened to them? They got a nerf of overall armor and HP. This is a little harsh, I have to say. I'm a big fan of primordials, and previously I feel like if you get them to two set of primordials, 2-star, say 4 primordial alliance, it's decent enough for the early game for mages, and it's the late game that primordials really push for the tier 3 primordials. Notice the tier 2 primordials got nerfed by the armor, and the tier 3 primordials are nerfed by HP and armor. Yeah, it's a sizable nerf, and overall it's weakening the mages. Savage. No one plays Savage enough, and to compensate for that, they added more damage for Savages. It starts off with 1 damage, at tier 3 Savage, they went to 15 damage. But honestly speaking, if you're going for tier 3 Savage, likely Bristleback will be your main damage dealer, and it's a little harsh for Bristleback to do enough damage. I mean, he's gonna get 500, 600 damage. But we've seen how much the Legion Commander does with 1000 damage, and it's great, but the downside is she can only auto attack. I don't know how to do. So I'm yet to expect how well the Savage can go, but a bit of the Savage Hunters might help with the Lycan, because Lycan can enjoy even 2 or 4 Savages. Now, in respect to the Mage nerf, the Scales also got a nerf. So over here, the Scaled have a magic resistance nerf from 30% to 20%. That's quite a bit actually. It's 50% of the 30%. Actually no, it's 30% of the 30% went to 20%. And again, it's almost 1/3 of the 50%. Actually, the second tier is not that much nerf, the first tier is a big nerf. So they really want to push for 4 scaled instead of 2 scaled. Well, it's understandable, but overall, because the mage damage is nerfed, the scale is also nerfed, so maybe they try to scale with that. So I'm a little puzzled why they nerf scale, but maybe they don't want mage to be overshadowed by the scaled. But I don't feel like ever there's a point I go, oh my gosh, I can't deal with scaled. Except I'm playing mages and they happen to find 4 scaled. So we shall see how this works. Warlocks. The Warlocks have gotten a small buff if you look at it. So although the percentage changed from 100% to 90%, it's tier 3 for the Warlocks, so 6 Warlocks. The Warlock life steal duration is back to 2, 3 and 3.5 seconds, which seems to be great. So overall it is a buff to the Warlocks, I feel. And yeah, let's see. So in the chat is, you guys are talking about the knockout mode. So yeah, the Brutes seems to be more DPS. The Brutes are definitely more scary. And the duration of increase on Warlock is not bad, but I feel like Brutes are definitely on the rise. So yeah, overall this is a fast balance update right after the Outlanders release. So what we can take from this is that they're trying to balance all the alliance such that they're on equal footing. Maybe they have the stats that who plays the most alliance most in the ranked games, and they try to balance that. But in doing so, they're taking away a few of the, well, enjoyable comps or compositions. It is understandable because, you know, as a developer, they want to come from the balance perspective. What I'm really hoping for is for them to add 2 more Underlord, and this way, although one Underlord is balanced, we don't feel like we're left with the other one. So it's like this week is Hennesix, that week is Hagen, and this repeats. So I'm hoping they update new Underlord and new PvE games. Really excited for that as well. So thank you guys for watching this short summary of the second update for this week. Likely there won't be another update for tomorrow, so we're going to expect more update to come next week hopefully.